If you'd like to join us in this gathering of minds, as these words gently knock for our friends in a world we call unseen. Dearest divine and infinite spirit, power of love and creation, we assemble in this your house, the house of love, where the spirit is felt. This house that has not been built by our hands, but with the will of love. As we have come together as strangers, we will leave this place as friends. For if your love is to touch our hearts this day, may it go to the greatest need. With the words of comfort, bring love to us all. On this day marks the birth, what we call Mother's Day. Love that is shared brings us together in peace and in love. For the one that may have birthed us may not be the one that raises us. So on this day, may we mark the celebration of the eternal life, and if there is a need, take what is needed as we sit within your presence and in your love. Amen.
So first of all, happy Mother's Day to all the moms in our community. And I hope the people in your life have spoiled you and done something nice for you. If not, let us all just be here to say thank you. You have no idea how much you've done for others. And I know, me being a daughter, I know the difference my mom has made in my life and that I continue to share in many lives. So if no one's done anything for you just yet, do something nice for yourself. You're very special. And after Scott's opening prayer, the picture we saw was the Milky Way galaxy. And that, my friends, is our home. It's hard to believe, but that truly is our home. I picked our theme today for a few reasons. First, there's been a lot about Star Wars on television, especially this past Wednesday, which was May 4th. Now, I really didn't realize how much Star Wars lovers love to say, May the 4th be with you. Get it? May 4th. May the 4th be with you. So that's one of the reasons. And second, I'm personally really fascinated with the vastness of the universe and the fact that we are all made up of star stuff. You know, I find that very, very cool. But the real reason I wanted this, our Sunday gathering, to have the theme of a view from above was a theme, or that theme, it was from some good advice that I got from a girlfriend years ago. I don't even remember what the problem is now, but I was facing a problem with a situation I couldn't fix. And you know, when you just can't stop stewing and thinking about something, and I was constantly just feeling upset. And that's when my friend said, Sandra, take the 30,000-foot view. And I hadn't heard that expression before, but over 30,000 feet is where our commercial airplanes fly, way up there. And then she said, imagine trying to find you and your problem from that height. It's hard to do. Well, it's impossible to do. And then she said, then imagine yourself on the moon, looking down at the spinning Earth and try to find your problem. And she said, Sandra, this Earth has been spinning for billions of years and will continue to long after we are gone. No one will remember us, our problems. So just do the best you can. Don't take it all so seriously. I never forgot that advice from her. And quite honestly, I am human, so I use that from time to time when I need it. And I've been very blessed. Our community member, Camille Dan, has a book coming out in the next couple of weeks. And it's called Gathering at the Doorway, an anthology of signs, visits, and messages from the afterlife. And she asked me to write a foreword for her book. So I want to read just a little of it today, and I don't think she'll mind, but it's on our theme. And my hopes is that the words that I read can help us all put into perspective our lives. And maybe, like my friend said, don't take it all so seriously. So here it is. We humans are interesting creatures. The process of being created is miraculous when you think about it. Our little human embryo is full of everything we need to grow and be living, breathing, walking, and thinking creatures. We live in self-generating, self-repairing bodies that come with our own battery packs. Add a little food and water, and we may exist for 80 years or more. We live on a planet that just happens to have everything we need for survival. Our sun that keeps life possible is just one star out of the estimated 20 billion suns that also have planets in their solar systems. And my friends, that's just in our Milky Way galaxy. How many galaxies are in the universe? Astronomers can safely say there are at least 170 billion, but most of them feel that that number is more like 2 trillion galaxies in an ever expanding universe. Everything we use on a daily basis somehow originated from the basic elements of this planet: air, water, rock, and earth. The mobile phones we use, computers, televisions, radios, are all able to connect through an invisible source and supply us with never-ending information and entertainment. Our lives are miraculous, yet as human beings, we seem to be controlled by our minds, which are incorrect most of the time. Although our devices can wirelessly connect, our minds often doubt that we can do the very same thing. Have you ever noticed your mind spends way too much time thinking about the past and worried about the future? Have you noticed that it never stops talking to you, judging everything you do and who you are? Have you ever caught it saying that you aren't good enough, smart enough, something is wrong with you, and better yet, something is definitely wrong with other people? This is also the mind that wants you to doubt the existence of the afterlife, to overlook the subtle signs that have you think of a loved one who has transitioned. Our minds try to convince us that we must see it to believe it, when we really are miraculous beings living in a miraculous universe. And then in the foreword, I go on to speak about the book. But our inner universe is just as amazing. You know, we're all made up of cells and molecules and atoms bouncing around inside. And someone had once, I'd seen it in a movie, said, if we were to put a tiny little camera in one of the atoms that make up us, it wouldn't be able to record anything. We are 100% pure energy, and down to our smallest form, we are invisible. So the outer universe is just as miraculous to me as the inner universe. So my friends, the fact that we exist right now with the intelligence that we have, alive on a planet in this ever expanding universe, and of course, being connected through technology, being all over the world, that's miraculous. We are divine beings, we are powerful, and we are eternal. We're going to go into our healing now, and I've picked a song we're all familiar with. It's Elton John's Rocket Man, but it's done to piano. It's actually quite lovely. And as we go into our healing, take that 30,000-foot view, or imagine yourself on the moon, looking down on planet Earth, knowing how powerful you are, and sending healing energy. Visualize yourself, your loved ones, and the people of the earth, healthy, whole, vibrant, happy, and alive. My friends, we really are that powerful. I'm not just saying that. And we can make a difference. So in your own way, however you want to visualize moonlight or sparkly light or whatever that is, that healing to the earth, you can do it now. And then after our healing songs, we'll hear some words from Phil and Carrie.
Thank you very much, Sandra, for taking us through that healing and that beautiful piece of music as well. And I know that as I was listening to you speaking, a view from 30,000 feet, that is a long, long way up. And then a view from the moon. Well, you've given us a view from the moon through that healing there. And often all it needs is a different perspective. And you've talked about that different perspective. But as we talk about seeing things from a different perspective, we also have to see things as they are now. So as we see things as they are now, within that space that we're in, we have to appreciate every single day. And I know for those of us with mothers in the spirit world and mothers still here, we do appreciate them every single day. But then life can change in the blink of an eye. When life turns around and what you knew becomes something different, you get a whole different perspective. And nobody asks for it, nobody seeks it out. A different perspective often just arrives because life changes. And if we think about those rose-tinted glasses that many of us might have been told when we were younger that we wore, that we looked at the world and suddenly everything was better. I've often been told that I wear rose-tinted glasses and I see nothing wrong in that. But sometimes we have to see life with a different lens, through a different lens. And that different lens is something that we earn. Yes, we don't have to go to the optometrist or the opticians. We actually earn that different lens. Because if I were to say to you, for you to imagine 10 years ago how life was like for you, you'll instantly maybe conjure up a picture or a memory. But if I were to go and ask you to look through the same lens you were looking at life with back then, you wouldn't be able to do it. You're looking at back then through the lens of today. Thank goodness, some may say. But as we look at life through the lens of the past has gone. It's only our memory of that past that keeps us there. Yes, life changes. Yes, in the blink of an eye, it changes, and it changes our perspective. But often we don't have to go too far away from the situation in order to find out that we're getting a different perspective from above. All we need to do is be willing to see the world from a different viewpoint. And that different viewpoint is often somebody else's viewpoint. I heard something very interesting, and it said, just because other people are doing wrong doesn't mean it makes it right. Just because nobody's doing the right thing doesn't mean that it's wrong. And having a different perspective and standing up for what you believe is often a difficult thing to do. And often it's only afterwards other people see your perspective. But it's about knowing your integrity, about knowing your viewpoint, and about knowing the perspective that you work with. I often found 4 statements, and it's called the 4 agreements. There is a 5th one, but I like to work with the original 4. And the first one is be impeccable with your word. Be responsible for your word, for the reactions, for the outcomes, and be responsible and accountable for how they might land, which means your intention has to be on point. Don't take anything personally. Wow, that's a difficult one, or it can be actually. The minute somebody says something, it's very easy to take it personally. But if we don't take it personally, allow the person that says or does something their own lens, and don't try and fit into that world and accommodate that viewpoint and take it personally, we often allow ourselves far less grief and trouble than if we would have otherwise. We also then need to not make assumptions. Yeah, I know, it's not that easy because our mind does it automatically. I bet they think that, and I bet they think, and I bet when they said that, they meant that. And before you know it, you've got 10 outcomes. For every 10 outcomes, you've got 10 possible solutions, and you don't even know what was actually meant. Don't make assumptions. Don't take anything personally. And always do your best. That's a difficult one as well. But I know for me, going into a situation and knowing the angle I'm coming at it from, knowing that I'm always going to do my best, no matter what constraints, what emotional upheavals I've got, what physical upheavals I might have, if I'm aware of those and always go in to do my best, then theoretically, I should be able to leave without beating myself over the back about how bad I did or I should have done better, because I enter into that always doing my best. Having a different lens on something and always knowing that the lens you have today will be a different lens to tomorrow might allow us to be impeccable with our word, take responsibility, don't make assumptions, and always do our best. Because tomorrow is another day. I guarantee you, in some way, tomorrow will have changed. You just won't know how it could have been, because we only ever get to see the day we enter into. All those universal possibilities of sliding doors and atoms that might have gone this way that actually went that way, we will never know that. We can only deal with what arrives for us. So if we can do our best, take that greater perspective, don't make assumptions about other people, and be impeccable with our word, we will always be able to see the world from a different perspective.
Ladies and gentlemen, Sandra, Kerry, thank you for those wonderful words. And I'd like to say Happy Mother's Day to everybody out there, those mothers that are mothers right now, those mothers in the spirit world, those that are going to mothers to be maybe in the future, and maybe those fathers that are taking on that role as mothers as well. What we need to look at as a bigger view may be very simple, maybe a simple understanding of what life is. If we look at the theme that Sandra's brought together today, even with those credits, and who remembers Star Wars? It took me back to one of the first cinema movies I saw was Star Wars, and it brought so many memories back. But also reading those words with anticipation, what was going to come next, it took me right back to that cinema with those loved ones that are in the spirit world. And during that song of Rocket Man, I was picturing them not in a different world, but still here by my side, still here looking down upon me. And it got me thinking what people above us might be thinking. And when I say above, I don't mean that in a derogatory way of a boss or somebody that has got that little bit of power in a workplace, but those in the spirit world. Let's start with what we may call God, or whatever you think that creator of life is, or mother or father, whichever you think. Would they be looking down with sorrow? Would they looking down, understanding what we're doing to this world, to each other? Or would there be a bigger plan? I'm sure, I hope, with a positive state of mind, there would be a bigger plan. But I'm sure they'd be looking down, trying to help us and stop wars and all the fighting that's going on as well. But if we just simplify it down to our loved ones, what will they be thinking? I'm sure they won't be derogatory. They won't be negative. I'm sure they will be positive. I'm sure they will be thinking of how well we're doing. When we trip and make a mistake, I'm sure they're there to lift us up. All those mothers that are in the spirit world will be encouraging us to be the best person that we are right now, knowing, as they did from mistakes they made, that we're going to make those mistakes. So having that bigger view of life is really important. And for me, it's very simple. I used to be that dreamer, as my own mother said. You're always, your head's in the clouds. You're thinking of the bigger picture. You need to come back to reality. Well, I soon learned it's the little things in life that made me happy, that made my world complete. simple things, might we say. And there's that simple saying, isn't it? Simple things please simple minds, but they keep us happy. They amuse us. They keep us going. And if we look at those simple things, it's a huge collection. It's not just one, there's a mass there. And if we follow those things that make us happy, what a different view it will be. Many people talk about views when they get older. They look back on life and reflect. And if we look at that journey from children learning and playing, to the teenager pushing those boundaries, to the young adult starting off in the world with careers and starting a family, all the things we're meant to do. But yeah, as we get more mature, we start to reflect and think, we didn't have a bad life. We made the best choices that we could. We did the best where we could. We had morals, ethics, and intentions to do the best, never to hurt anyone. So maybe we can look at a view from above in a different way, reflect on life, reflect back on the past, and learn from those mistakes, learn from those moments of happiness, learn from those real small things that brought us joy. If we look at the simple things in life, sitting on a wall, sitting on a harbour wall even, in the sun, hearing those little waves trickle in, it's just simple things that bring so much joy. But yet when you sat on that harbour wall, you are above. You're looking down into a different universe where there's water, sea urchins, fish, crabs, all kinds of different critters and animals. Well, aren't we looking into their world? Isn't somebody looking into our world? And those out there that believe that there's something more to life, I wonder what they think looking from above. Is there differences? What can they learn from us? Well, if we put all these together, what can we learn right now in this moment with that aspect and view from above? The bird's eye view, the helicopter view. What would we call it? How would we look at it? Would we look back and pour scorn and say we got things wrong? Or would we look and say, be kind to self and say we did our best? From that we learned. From that we learned to be a better person. From that better person we became the kindest person in the room. Understanding these simple values can make a huge difference. Living the best life that we can do is all that we can do. Listening to that voice inside, knowing what is right and wrong, living your truth, living a happy thing with no ill will towards mankind or anybody else. That's the view from above. Not listening to others' opinions, because guess what? You can't change them. Whatever you do, you can only be true to you. Live that pure, happy life, making self happy. And you'll notice very quickly, other people will notice you're happy and copy, because you're leading from a simple value of happiness, of kindness. Being kind to self makes you happier. Understanding these little views are impeccable and important, because what we need to do is lead by example, making these simple things, simple memory of a film, Star Wars. How many people during that healing song thought of their loved ones, thought of themselves above the earth looking down, remembering what it was like to be that child in that spacesuit, just like Elton John. It's incredible what the imagination can do. And if we live in that place, live in that truth, nothing is impossible. So for me, a view from above is something of happiness and kindness, knowing that above all, we're being true to who we are. Thank you for listening.
Absolutely beautiful. I love you guys so much. Boy, if we weren't 3,000 miles apart, I'd just give you big squeezes. And I'm sure everyone feels the same way. Thank you so much, Carrie and Phil. And my mom and I were just watching a TV show. There's a new one on Julia Child, just called Julia. And like Phil was talking about finding the happiness, in the film, it said, you know what stressed is spelled backwards? Desserts. So in case all else fails and you're tightly wound, have some dessert. Anyways, with that, we're going to move into our demonstration of mediumship. And Carrie and Phil are our fabulous mediums today. And for our folks that this is their first time here, I'll run through what we do now. And for our friends that have heard this before, just pretend you've never heard it from a gal in a spaceship, because you haven't. Carrie and Phil have both worked very, very hard and trained over many, many years. And of course, they've been longtime tutors of psychic and mediumship. And they have a beautiful agreement with the spirit world. And as much as they love to deliver messages, what they really want is that the people in the spirit world, that their voices get heard again. When we transition, we are real, live people. We aren't balls of energy. We are still human beings. We still have emotions. We still have our memories. And most importantly, we have love. So there's things they wish to communicate, letting us know that they're still around. There'll be several spirit people that will work with them. And they have it all organized. As much as we want to pray that our loved one comes in, you know, there could be a couple hundred of us on our Sunday gathering. There could be several thousands of them all working together. They know where the needs are. They also know the words that can come through a few that will make a difference for the many. So we trust the spirit world on this, absolutely. A spirit person will be in touch with Carrie and Phil through everything they have, their emotions, their feelings, their pictures, their memories, everything. And they'll do their best to kind of sum up the person that they have in the beginning with a few initial statements about the person. And we want you to listen in closely. If you can recognize the information that they are saying, and we want you to take all of the information, not just some of it, but all of it. If you can really understand all the information as somebody that no longer walks this earth, that was in your life, could be a loved one, could be a friend. Sometimes it's a little bit distant, but really listen in. If you can understand all that information, like, hey, I know that person. We want you to press your raise hand button. So I know people are on different kinds of devices and computers and laptops and iPads and iPhones. So if you want to go find your raise hand button on your screen right now and just press it, just for you to see how it works. And now it should say lower hand. So if you press it again, your hand will go down. Perfect, beautiful, wonderful. And when it's time, when we can distinguish who this person in the spirit world is here for, usually there's one person left remaining, I will press a special button on my side that will allow you to unmute yourself so we can hear your voice. We don't need your picture, don't worry about that. And you won't be able to see the unmute just yet because it takes something on my side to do that. And if you are someone working with Carrie and Phil, we just ask that you respond in one of three ways. We want them to get the information from the spirit person and deliver it. So all we need from you is yes, no, or I don't know. Just confirmation, whether you understand the information, whether you don't, or whether you're uncertain. It's very important that you don't volunteer any information about your loved ones. Let them do the work, because we want everyone leaving here today knowing that the spirit world is very much alive. The people are not with us 24/7 because they've got lives to live, but they're just a thought away. And they're with us in so many times in our life. And just call out their name and they'll be there. So with that, we always hear a piece of music. And this one, talking about imagination, is A Sky Full of Stars by Coldplay. But it's a gentleman who makes all the sounds himself, very creative. And yeah, it's just a beautiful song that I thought goes along with our space theme. So if you want to just sit back, relax, feel the love from the unseen world, even if you have to invoke your imagination, because that's how they work. The loved ones that maybe you haven't spoken to for a while, may be alive, they may be transitioned to the unseen world, but just pack them all in tight in your love. Or you can find yourself holding hands floating in outer space, however you wish to visualize. Just sit back and relax and enjoy the song. All right, let me find it for you. I couldn't help myself, Carrie. Sorry about that.
Oh, my dear giddy aunt, as I heard somebody say very recently. Very good. Thank you for that little giggle at the end. It does help Let's get into that space. Very good. Thanks, Sandra. And good evening or good day to you, ladies and gentlemen, Phil and Sandra. It really is a delight to be here and be able to work with you. I want to say today, when we're talking about outer space and different perspectives, that was a really, really interesting song with all those different sounds and takes creating. It's amazing what can come together when lots of sounds that mean nothing on their own come together. And it's almost like a community, isn't it? A community of sounds. So as I begin to work with the spirit world here, I do become aware of Ant in the spirit world. Just as I said, giddy Ant there, I know I've got Ant in the spirit world, and I do get a sense that Ant would have a great sense of pride about the way that she looked, about the way that she presented herself. I do feel that Ant would have had an incredible understanding of other people, but would have been very much close with her emotions about showing that. I actually feel that Ant went to the spirit world with a heart attack as well. And I know the name Margaret would, if it's not Ant's name, I do know it would either be her sister or the person I'm looking for.
Right. Thank you very much, Carrie. All right, ladies and gentlemen, who can understand the information? Please press your raise hand button. All right. We have Mick with their hand raised. Mick, could you press your unmute button? Hello.
Hi, how you doing?
Great, welcome.
I'm okay, good. So Mick, you would understand everything I've said?
Everything completely, except it wasn't a heart issue. It was a lung and trachea.
Okay, then would you have understood that she would have had, the word escapes me, but there's a spray, there would angina.
She was very close. I don't know.
Okay, because I know I felt those palpitations within the heart, but you understand everything else. You understand then that she was such a proud lady.
Oh yeah. Yes,
And you also know that she wouldn't have been short of a bob or two.
I'm not quite sure what you mean. Short of.
She would have been thrifty, but not short of a penny.
Oh, gotcha. Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Because
Okay.
I know she's well presented, but actually what she's presenting with is very much a lady of culture, a lady of being well presented, but none of it was put on. All of it was exactly who she was.
Oh, that's very true.
And but you understand your aunt's name being Margaret?
My other aunt, her sister is named Margaret.
Okay, then that would make absolute sense there. Then I have to say your other aunt must be in the spirit world as well.
Not yet, but.
Okay, well, then I'm not going to put her there, but they must be very, very different in personality.
Oh, absolutely. Without a doubt.
Because I know as I feel your aunt, she refers to her sister as somebody who's very, very different.
Oh, yes. I won't go into it, but yes.
And I know your aunt had very clear ideas and values and etiquette.
Oh, that's very true.
If you sent your lovely aunt something or she sent you something, it would need to be followed up by a thank you.
Yes, yeah.
It's about etiquette and it's about the right way to do things.
Right, right.
I also know your aunt must have had conversations, or I don't actually feel it would have been long conversations about how the right way was to do things to you.
Yes, we discussed that. Yeah.
And how she would have made her view very clear about how she didn't agree with how other people were doing things.
Oh, that's the honest truth. Yes.
And at her passing, Mick, you must have been very clear about how she would and wouldn't have wanted certain aspects to do with her celebration of life.
Describing her to the T. Yep.
Because I do feel that she wouldn't have wanted any fuss. She wouldn't have wanted any frills because she didn't need that.
Precisely.
She was naturally that way.
Oh, that's very true. Yes.
I have to say, Mick, you must have very dear memories of your aunt and the way and the strength of character that she embedded within you from her.
She was like a second mother from back all the way back into the 1950s. Yes.
Okay, then I know that you must also have memories of going on holiday with her.
Oh yeah.
And one of those holidays must have been in cold temperatures.
Yes.
So you must have memories of driving in the snow with her.
When I was young, real young. Yeah.
Okay, because I do know that she would have had views about who was driving, how they were driving, how quickly they were driving, and views about how things should be done.
I'm not sure about that.
Okay, then would you have memories of driving to your aunt's house in the snow?
I didn't have my driver's license then. No.
Okay. Okay, Mick, can I double check with you then? Would you have driven to your aunt's place after her passing and it would have been snowing?
No, we both lived in Florida.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
Floridians don't have to suffer that
No,
white stuff.
But
Then
we're both from up north with snow. Yes. Okay.
Okay, then there must be a memory of you being with her in the snow, because I do know that I see you, I see her, I see you in the same place, and I see there being snow and cold and hunkering down in the warmth.
Yes. When we lived in the north. Yes. Yeah.
Okay, then I know your aunt, Mick, your aunt wants to leave that sense of etiquette, of what's right and what's wrong. You heard me say in the address that just because everybody's doing it doesn't make it right.
I know what you mean.
And I know your aunt wants to let you know that whatever's taking place, she sees that and she wants you to follow whatever etiquette and integrity she installed in you. She's right there by you, because she would have been behind you saying, right, Mick, on you go, on you go. She would have had a different name for you as well, though.
Actually, she did.
Because I just, as I said, Mick, I felt that she would have had
She called me Mick.
a little soft name, a little version of that, because
Yeah.
I knew it was a little endearing version of that.
Yeah.
Please know that this is your aunt's way of saying, I see where you are, I see what's happening, I am behind you 100% in your viewpoint, your intention, and do not forget that it is all about what's right and what's wrong. It's also about, in your aunt's world, it was about appearances as well.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I know what you mean by that. Yeah.
Now, I know you seem to respect your aunt.
Oh,
so
great. I miss her.
if you respect your aunt, you will respect your aunts and bringing your remembering about. Sometimes it is all about how we appear.
Yes.
And that's all people will see. And sometimes you just need to leave them with it.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I hear everything you're saying. It's like
Okay.
she's speaking to me. I understand.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mick, for allowing me to do that. It has been a real pleasure.
Thank you too. She was a great lady. Thank you.
I can get that sense. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mick. Thank you, Carrie. Thank you, Auntie.
I now get a sense of mum being with me. And I know it's Mother's Day. So everybody will be wanting to hear from their mum if their mum is in the spirit world. But I do feel that mum, would have, okay, just going to take a second longer here. Okay, I do know that I believe that mum's name is Patricia. I don't feel she would have got her full name, but I also want to say that mum would have had a cancer that would have gone through her, either her lungs or her internal organs. But I also know that at one point she would have taken great delight in those nicotine sticks that are bad for you. This makes sense to somebody here.
Oh, thank you, Carrie. All right, ladies and gentlemen, who can understand this information about this lovely lady? Press your raise hand button. No hands up just yet, Carrie. Oh, I spoke too soon. I always seem to speak too soon. We have Tina with her hand raised. Hi, Tina.
Hi. So my mom, and I called her mom, was Patricia. So, but one of those things wasn't right. Two of those were right.
Okay, but you would have felt her as mum?
Yes, I called her mom.
Okay. And would you understand that she passed with a cancer condition in the top torso area?
No, that's what's
Okay.
wrong.
Okay. And would you understand her liking the nicotine sticks?
Yes, in the past.
Okay. Then there must have been some question about, or some a number of things that would have been wrong with the lady you called Mum.
Yes, Patricia,
Okay.
my mother, Mum. Yes.
Patricia.
Mhm.
So with Patricia, you would know that she also, I know we all have difficulty in breathing when we move to the spirit world as and we stop, but I know Patricia had difficulty breathing.
Yes. Some,
Okay,
yes.
then you must have witnessed this, Tina, this difficulty in breathing.
Yes.
Okay, because I feel that there is this, I don't actually feel that Patricia was aware of this though towards the end. I do feel that she would have been medicated beyond being aware of it.
Yes.
Okay, but I know that she brings that just as evidence because she knows that you saw that. I know that Patricia would have also had this sense of being wholesome, and I know I was working with Aunt before that had that value set, but Patricia must have really had to stand up for herself against a number of different difficulties.
Yes.
Because I feel
Yes.
like she was challenged quite a number of times.
Yes.
And I actually feel that she must have had some life choices that created her being a minority in the community.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll take that.
Because I know she stood by her morals, she stood by her values, and she stood by being who she was and
Yes.
making no apology for it.
Absolutely. Yes.
I know you must have talked to her at times when you had that difficulty of, do I succumb to going in with the norm, or do I stay and just be myself? And I know you and her would have had conversations like that.
Yes.
I know too, Tina, that Patricia would have advocated on behalf of other people too.
Yes, absolutely.
Because I firmly believe not just she spoke up for others, but she must have actually advocated in some way for people.
Yes.
So she must have, then you must have saw her doing this. You must have witnessed her advocating.
Yes.
Because I know that she brings me this feeling of her not really fully appreciating just how proud you were of her.
Yes.
Because as you look back, you must have sent the thoughts up to her of just how much you respected her. And often from that different perspective, as we were been speaking about today, we don't know that full perspective until we hear other people's thoughts of ourselves.
Yes.
And
That's
she's so pleased. I can't evidentially prove it to you, but those thoughts have landed with her and brought great comfort to her. I know that she sees you advocating on behalf of others, but I know that's now, Tina.
Yes.
And I know that who you're advocating on behalf of now, you're advocating because they are a minority at the moment.
Yes.
It's her way of saying, I see what you're doing and I'm so proud of how you're doing it. But when you sat with Patricia, Tina, you must have spent those last moments with her.
Close to, yes.
Because I know that when you left her, you knew it would be the last time you saw her.
Yes. Yes.
And I know that when she passed, you felt that she visited you.
Yes.
Please know that wasn't your imagination. Please know she did come to let you know I'm okay.
Oh, that's
Often
wonderful.
that happens.
Yes, that's lovely. I tried to write it off, but yes.
No,
Thank you.
please know that is her way. And you must have her watch as well, Tina.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Then with that watch, either it doesn't work or you don't wear it.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. It doesn't matter whether you indulge yourself in fixing it or not, but please know that she knows you've got it, and that's how it should be.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much for allowing me to do that, Tina. Thank you.
You. That was
You're
wonderful.
very welcome.
Oh, thank you, Tina. Thank you, Carrie. Beautiful.
Okay. I do believe I have mother, although it should be that way, shouldn't it? Because it's Mother's Day today. I do believe I have mother, and I know I want to reach out for daughter. And at one point, daughter and mother must have gone on a road trip. And I do feel that this road trip would have been over, I'm not just talking 20 or 30 kilometers or miles. This is a long road trip. And I do feel that this was it really created the depth of relationship with Mum. This makes sense to somebody in our audience.
Thank you, Carrie. Oh, all right. We have Linda with her hand raised. Let's bring her in. Linda, could you unmute yourself? Oh, and I just see Julia's hand is up also, Carrie.
Thank you. Then one of the two people would understand taking this road trip. Linda, you would understand this road trip with Mum?
Yes, Carrie.
And would you understand that you would have already known there was an illness with your Mum?
No, I can't take that.
Can I just check in with the other person?
Julia, could you press your unmute button? Hi, Julia.
Hello.
Hi, Julia. Would you understand that when you went on this road trip with your Mum, you would have already known there was an illness with your Mum?
I'm not sure. There were many road trips.
Okay, then the last road trip you took with her, would you know that you had a sense of her already being unwell or her health failing?
That I can take.
Okay.
I think so.
The last trip.
Okay. Then I do feel that this must have been on a coastal area.
By water, but not coastal.
No, I'm definitely on the coast. Would that
Okay.
make sense to any of our other people, Sandra?
Julia, does that make sense to you?
Or
On the
my
coast?
Yeah, my mom and dad and I took a lot of trips along the coast.
Lots of trips along the coast.
Okay, and with that, you would know that those road trips brought you and your Mum closer, Julia.
Yes.
Because I feel like your Mum must have taken those opportunities to really open up to you.
Yes.
And I also know that your Mum, she wouldn't have been the most forthcoming emotionally at the best of times.
That's true.
And I get a sense that she kind of mellowed on the road trips.
Yes.
It's like taking her out of our normal habitat and her being able to relax and mellow and enjoy life a bit more.
Yes.
And you and her must have had some really, really interesting conversations about life.
Yes.
And I want to say, Julia, your Mum must have also shared some information about her family with you that you maybe didn't know in your earlier years.
On the road trips or in general?
In general.
In general, yes.
Because I get this feeling that as you and her have built this relationship stronger and stronger, that she was able to share with you without fear, her fear of being judged in some way, even though you wouldn't. There was this opening up of your Mum.
Yes, that's eventually true, yes.
I need to say as well, Julia, that your Mum had this way about her that you wouldn't always know what was happening within her mind.
True.
Because she would look one way, but actually she'd keep her emotions well hidden. And I know there must have been a place that you and your Mum visited regularly in previous years where you'd regularly go for cups of tea or coffee and meet up for a chat on a regular basis.
Yeah.
And you'd have this place that you would frequently go back to again and again.
Yes.
And I know that very recently you must have thought about that place.
I was there the other day.
I was going to get to that part about you being there, because I know that that part of you being there, I know that this is your mum's way of letting you know, firstly, she sees you, she's still taking the trips with you, but secondly, that she hears your thoughts, because I know your thoughts wander a little bit in terms of trying to sort all the problems of all the worlds.
True.
And I know your mum used to tell you that this wasn't necessarily the best way to be in the world. Even though she was the same, she would tell you to be different.
Yes.
And you must have, from those younger years, Julia, you must have your mum's sewing details, like the sewing kit or the sewing basket. Give me any, it doesn't make sense.
Not really.
Not really. Then with your mum, you must have memories of her sewing or darning with you.
I have to say maybe.
You don't understand that. It's okay. I prefer no than anything trying to make it fit. Absolutely, I can work with a no. Then with your mum, then you must have, okay. So Julia, you must have very recently been sewing.
Yes.
Okay, but then when you were sewing, you must have brought memory, because I know your mum sees you sewing, but I know there must have been memories of that being in the family, Julia. I have to say, you would know of a tailor or a seamstress in the spirit world.
A friend who was very good at sewing, yes.
Okay, because I know that your mum has a lovely quirky sense of humor, but not one to tease, because I know she's not that sort. But I know this is her way of wanting to let you know that there are other people there and she is meeting up with them. Evidentially, I can't prove that, but I know you must have been asking questions of your mum about what is it like? Are you all together? And you would know, I know your mum mentions about the person that's just gone to the spirit world.
Friend,
Do
I
you
don't
understand?
know,
Do you,
not on.
do you understand? I can't hear you, Julia. Did you understand that?
The person I'm thinking of, Mom's best friend, was a fabulous seamstress, but she went to spirit a long, long time ago.
Okay, but do you understand? Very recently, Julia, sadly, somebody going to the spirit world.
No.
Then let me take that back for a second, because I don't want to give you any wrong information, Julia. But if that is correct with your friend and your mom, you must have been asking questions about, are you all together? Do you get together in the spirit world? And what is it like?
Yes.
Okay, this is your mum's way of showing you that they are all together, they are all there. But I know that your mum wants to let you know that there is a sense of her being there. You have been asking your mum to come around you.
Yes.
You have been asking for your mum to let you know that she is there, because I know you've been asking for healing to go to somebody very close to you right now, Julia. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay, then please know that this is your mum's way of saying, we're on it. Healing is being sent, but it is very specific healing.
Yes.
Please know that this is your mum's way of saying she is pulling everybody, going as far back as your friend who's a seamstress. Everybody's there lending support and lending healing as well. This is your mum's way of letting you know she is not far away.
Lovely.
Okay, Julia, thank you for allowing me to do that for you.
Thank you for bringing Mum back. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Julia. Thank you, Carrie.
Okay. I know as I begin to feel the spirit world again, I do get the sense that I was going to say mum, but I do feel that dad is going to get the first word. So I know I've got mum and dad in the spirit world here. I know there is a sense with dad that I am looking for daughter again. So sorry, guys, Phil might be able to help you out more here, but I do know I'm feeling that I'm drawn to daughter. And I know that dad is in the spirit world. I do feel that Dave or David would either be his name or somebody very, very close to him. And I know that with dad, there is memories of going out long walks with his daughter. I need to say as well with mom here, I do know that with mom there's a strong sense of her would normally be the first person in, but okay. I know that this would be either close to dad's passing or dad's birthday, and that's why dad's getting in first.
All right, I'm going to lower the hands just because we had several hands that went up before you gave all the information, Carrie. So if you would put your hand up, and you can still take all that information, if you could go ahead and put your hand back up. Okay, we have Stella and Lisa with their hands raised, Carrie.
Okay.
And Geraldine.
So would one of them understand dad's name being Dave or David?
Okay, I'm going to lower your hands. And if you can also take that his name is Dave or David, press your raise hand button. Stella and Lisa.
Okay. I know we've got two people. They kind of, for the moment, speak to Stella.
Absolutely. Stella, if you could press your unmute button. Hi, Stella.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
So, hi, Stella.
Hello, Kerry.
Hi. So you would understand dad in the spirit world?
Yes.
And you would understand his name being Dave or David?
Yes.
And you understand mum in the spirit world as well?
Yes.
You would also understand that mum would normally get first foot in the door.
Oh, yes.
But you would know that dad's either passing or birthday would be round about now.
Yes, it is.
Because that's the only reason he's got first in. I also know that your dad's feeling for you. I mean, every girl's their daddy's little girl, but I do feel that you and your dad had a bit of an ability to share a joke without even saying anything.
Yes.
I need to say as well that with your dad, there would have been memories of you and him going out for walks.
Yes, quite often.
But on those walks, you and him would disappear for the full day.
Yes.
And you must have memories of having new boots or walking too long in your boots and getting blisters.
Yes.
And your dad helping you out with that.
Yes, he would.
He must have really, really known his way around the outside and the hills and nature.
Yes, he did.
Because I actually feel like if I were out on a walk with him, he would be telling me all about what you do in this emergency and did you know that that's the way to go. So he must have often gone out into the hills himself.
Yes.
And he would also know about camping equipment.
Oh, not sure about that.
Then you must have memories of these tiny gas stoves, of being outside and setting up with a gas stove and cooking up some hot water with him.
Not sure.
Okay. Then when we talk about camping, Stella, would you know where your dad would talk about memories of him going out when he was younger and taking a whole lot of camping gear with him?
Oh, yes. Yes, sorry, I've got it now.
Because I know what your dad's showing me. I just need to make sure I've got it in the right context. So your dad must have been a right little hiker when he was younger.
Oh, yes.
Because I know my dad is. We were just looking at photographs very recently, and I know I'm seeing your dad looking through photographs of, yes, I did that when I was 17, and I did that when I was such and such an age. But I also need to say with your dad that he had such a capacity of patience for people, whereas your mum would be more to the point.
Yes.
And I know families are curious things, aren't they? And I know that the way your dad gives me this is that if there was a fallout in the family, your mum would just want to go in and like a wrecking ball and just sort it that way. And your dad would want to, as we would say in Scotland, cock canny a bit and take his time.
Yes, that's right.
And you would know where right now you have been taking your time with a family circumstance.
Yes.
This is another reason your mum's like your dad come in first. Because your dad recognizes that approach and your mum certainly does not. But I also know that with this situation, your mum is giving me the impression that there are other people coming in like that wrecking ball, like she would have done.
Yes, there is.
Know that this is your mum and dad's clever way of letting you know that they understand the situation that you're in. But I also get the sense that your dad wants to reassure you. Okay. When your dad was close to the end, Stella, you would know that you didn't get to see him.
No.
Okay, then there must have been somebody that didn't quite get there in time.
Yes, my sister.
Okay, then if you're able to have that conversation with her, it would be that it doesn't really matter. All's well that ends well. And I know there is a sense with your dad of the hugest, largest thank you to you for what you're doing. I know your name is Stella, but he has just said you're doing a stellar job of holding things together right now.
Oh, thank you.
Because your mum would have done it, but in a different way. You had the best of both worlds.
That's lovely. Thank you.
So I'm going to leave you with memories of your dad camping and your mum's strength and say thank you very much for working with me.
Thank you, Kerry. Thank you, Sandra.
Very welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. And as our Han Solo takes the chair and Princess Leia has moved.
I saw
the other
that.
side of-
That made me laugh. I was trying not to chuckle in the background. That's
Oh,
fantastic. So-
I just had to.
Absolutely. So how are you doing in the mothership, Sandra?
All is good here.
Good. You keeping the community safe and patrolling those skies?
That's what I'm doing.
Fantastic. Good. Okay. So I know I have husband here. I know that husband is called John. I also believe that husband would have been in the armed forces, and I actually believe he would have been in the I want to talk about the Air Force. So I know I have husband. I know he was a pilot within the Air Force.
Thank you very much. All right. Who can understand this gentleman? Press your raise hand button. No hands up just yet, Phil.
That's absolutely fine. So I'm just going to go back in a little bit, because I know here I keep on seeing the Air Force because I keep on seeing pilots. If I'm wrong with husband, I know it would have been a family member, father or somebody like that, but I know he would have served his country. And I know here as well, he would have received honours as well. So I know somebody here would have been in that Air Force, the father, if I'm wrong with husband.
Misty's got her hand raised.
Good,
Let's
good.
bring in Misty. Misty, can you press your unmute button? Hi, Misty.
Hello, Misty. Do you understand everything I've said?
Yes.
So where I was wrong with husband, would I be right in saying it was father?
Yes, but
That-
the name is not John.
His name's not John. Okay, I did forget about that bit. Okay, but you would understand a John though.
Yes.
That's fine. With your father, would you understand that he was a matter-of-fact gentleman? He dealt with facts. There was no small talk.
No.
Oh, no then. Because I want to understand this, if I'm with you, because I could be not in the right place. Then if I've got it the wrong way round, do you understand that he liked to find out facts and details through that smaller talk?
Yes.
And if I said he was good at nurturing people and nurturing things out of people,
Yes.
because I know there's this sense here with him as I work with him, but I also want to say there's an incredible pride in being in the Air Force.
Yes.
And I want to say he either received honours or medals as well.
Yes.
Because again, there should be photographs of him receiving the medals.
Yes.
And I know they would have been in pride of place, and I do believe they're still in the family now.
Yes.
And would I be right in saying they're still, even though they're in pride of place, they're still in the boxes?
Yes.
Because again, where I said your father's very particular over things, but I actually feel with your dad as well that he was, I know he said father, but I want to say he's a real dad. He was down to earth and he liked time with the family.
Very much.
And it feels like I could get up to mischief, I could get up to no good with you and the family.
Yes.
And I want to say as well, there should be memories being outdoors in the fields and in nature with him.
Yeah, quite a bit.
Because it just feels here where we could explore and get rid of the boundaries of life and just bring those good old family values in by exploring, having picnics and things.
Yes.
Would I be right in saying that he would have shown you the wonders of the great outdoors?
Yes.
Because it feels like I want to go through the trees and the forests and show you the different types of trees and forests.
Yeah.
And it also feels where he would have taught you survival skills or told you things you could do.
Somewhat, yeah.
Because again, there's just this impression where I want to nurture you and take you through these memories. But I also want to say he would have taught you how to find home or civilization if you got lost.
Not that I remember.
Bear with me, Misty. Would I be right in saying he would always say, look to the distance, look to the horizon?
Not that I can recall.
That's fine, because I know what I've done wrong with it. He also feels that he was quite positive-minded.
Yes.
And I want to say whatever happened, he never lost that.
Yes, very much.
Because I just feel the way that I keep on hearing this, it's look to the horizon, look to the high points, look to the mountain sort of thing. So it's always the bigger view from above, the further view here, like the theme tonight.
Yeah.
But I also want to say as well, he always kept an eye on the family. Even if he was out in front, he would always look back and keep an eye on people.
Yes.
And would I be right in saying that even, I know you, Misty, you're a lovely young lady, but he would have done like boys sports with you as well?
Yeah.
Because again, it feels like I want to play catch and I don't want to take it easy on you. I want to show you, you understand?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Okay, because it just feels here, I want to almost treat you the same and make you strong. And I want to say this, he's extremely proud of you for how strong you have been to get yourself through multiple things in life. Understand?
Yeah.
And I want to say the personal issues, and I'm not going to open them up because that's the way it makes me feel, because I also know your dad had ethics and morals and was quite chivalrous as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, here he's letting me feel how passionate he is. But I also want to say you still talk to your father in the spirit world.
Yes.
And I also know when there's been hardships, it's him you call upon.
Yes.
And I also know you've heard him speak to you since he's passed to the spirit world.
Yes.
Because I know you've heard your name shouted by him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I also believe as well that your dad used to come in, and even when you were in that half sleep state, tuck you up and say good night to you.
Yep.
And always give you that kiss, and you remember that because you used to say back to him, I love you too, Dad.
Yeah.
Because I know he gives you that kiss and says, I love you, and that's where that response is. You must have an old photograph, a small photograph of him that you keep away from all the others, and it's almost like that special photograph you have of him.
Yeah.
Because I know here he wants to just symbolize in a way that photograph is how close he is to your heart. And I know it's that personal side. And I want to say your dad shared things with you that he didn't share with others.
I wouldn't know for sure.
Because but there must have been times he shared his emotions with you though.
Yes.
Because I know he didn't share them often with others, but I know here he let you know how he felt and how he loved you.
Yes. Yeah.
And there must be memories of where there was an old rope swing where he used to push you on.
Yes.
Because I know that's what I want to leave you with, that thought that your father is above, still pushing you as that little girl with no cares in the world, but know he's behind you in every step you take, Misty.
Thank you.
I'm going to leave his love with you and say thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Misty. Thank you, Phil.
Okay, good. All right. Okay. I know here that I have Mother with me, and I know as I work with Mother, I know she works within a legal department. I actually feel she was either a lawyer or an attorney. I don't know quite the right saying, but I know she worked in that law industry. And I also know she was a force not to be messed with or reckoned with, because I know she has this real presence and strength with her. But I want to say she was what I call a professional lady within that line of work. But I also know she was completely different at home. It's almost like she was the true mother. She was the caring mother. And I want to say she did everything a mother should do.
Thank you, Phil. All right, who can understand this lovely lady? Press your raise hand button. All right, Geraldine, your hand is up. Geraldine, can you press your unmute button? Geraldine, it might be by accident because we've noticed it.
Hello.
Oh, there it is.
Hello, Geraldine. Do you understand everything I've said?
Yes, my mother was a legal secretary, and
Right.
the way you described her personality, yes.
Good. Because I want to say, and I felt she was in that law, but I know you've offered the word secretary, but I actually feel that she was much more than that. She knew the ins and outs of law completely almost.
Yes.
And I want to say that if you were going to challenge her, and you must know this from where there was tough days for her, if you were going to challenge her, you would have to really know your stuff as well.
Oh, yeah.
That's fine. But with your mum as well, I want to say there's two sides of her, because what I said before is when she was at home, she was that true mum, that was caring, was empathic, was listening and understanding.
Yes.
Because I want to say that the polar opposites, but again, it's almost as she came home, it was her way of winding down, taking her feet off and just being who she really, truly was.
Yes.
With your mum, would I be right in saying that having the family together was important?
Very much so,
because
yes.
it just feels like that family ethics and sitting together at the table and going out together and having days out was really important.
Oh, yes.
And it just feels here that she was almost excited about these events and she was very passionate about it.
Oh, yeah.
And if I said that in a way it was like a code, a religion for her, how the family had to be together.
Yes.
And if I said that if you weren't particularly in the mood, you'd see that stronger side of mum.
Yes.
Because again, as I just backed away from it, she pulled me forward again. So I know it's almost expected of us. And I want to say that people, even though they weren't fully engaged at times, had to show they were engaged in the family get-togethers.
Oh, yeah.
That's fine. With your mum, there just seems to be this real presence with her that could make people a little bit uncomfortable as well. Say no if it's wrong.
No, I don't think so.
Bear with me one second. If I said mum was very strong-minded, she always got her way.
Yeah.
Because I know there's this sense with her where she's got the strength, and even though somebody might say something different or put it a different way, I know she had that presence where people didn't want to get on the wrong side of her.
Yeah, that's true.
But I also know that your mum was extremely kind and patient with people as well.
Yes, she was.
And if I said that if somebody bought her a card or something that she wasn't enamored with, you would never know the difference.
No.
You don't understand. If I said that little gestures, little gifts were important to your mum, like receiving cards, that family atmosphere.
Absolutely.
Because even though she might not have been enamored in some ways, I know it was a big thing for her, but I know she never voiced it, because I just feel that that respect in the family had to be to the peers, had to be to the elders, those good old-fashioned family values.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would I be right in saying at one time we used to live in the countryside as well?
Yes.
Because I know it's almost like I want to be surrounded by nature and I want to live that good life. And I want to say, in some sense, mum was, I don't feel solely responsible, but she wanted to give the best to the family, not just in material objects, but in the way of life as well.
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
Because again, there's just this impression, but where we would have lived in the country, there must have been a bit of land around us with the property.
There were like land as far as woods and like that.
Okay, don't say any more. Would I be right in saying in the garden, though, there was large trees?
Oh, yeah.
Because I know this is where she's taking me to, and I'm not sure if it was some kind of, the house was called something lodge, or there was something of lodge in the title. Please say no, it's not correct.
No.
Thank you. Would I be right in saying there's memories of going to either cabins or lodges when you were younger, Geraldine, with your mum?
Yes. Yes.
That's fine. Because that's what I want. I want the no so I can put it right, because I know something wasn't playing out. But I know it's the family adventures, it's the family together, it's about, and where this lodge was, a cabin, there must have been water nearby as well.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because it feels like there's memories of walking around it. Or down by the waterside.
Yes. Oh,
That's
yeah.
fine. That's fine. Because it's all these memories I want to bring to you and all that good living. But I also know that your mum has been on your mind just recently. And I know mum's come forward to remember the good things in life and the values of life, and to bring that inspiration to you, Geraldine.
Oh, yes. Thank you.
I'm going to leave her love with you. But know she walks by your side every step of the way. And in a way, you picture your mum sometimes just talking to you, because I actually want to say this is how she shows herself to me, trying to inspire you through life.
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
I'm going to leave your mum's love with you. I'm going to say thank you very much for allowing me to do that. And I'm going to go back to Sandra on the mothership and say, thank you very much for allowing us to do this, and I hope you're keeping those universes. We need a cape and a hat and everything on you.
Well, let me work on that for the next time. Well, thank you, Phil, and thank you, Carrie, as well, for the beautiful demonstration of mediumship. I love being on the mothership. I think I'm going to keep this as a background all the time. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I've got some announcements, but first, I think about the vastness of the universe. And right now it's almost 3:30 in the afternoon, Northeastern time in the United States. And I just see a blue sky. It's beautiful. But if I didn't know any better and somebody were to tell me that there's millions upon billions of trillions of stars up there, I'd kind of have a hard time believing it. But we wait till the night sky and voila, there they are. Well, our loved ones are around and the evidence is out, whether or not our mind wants to trust it. They are very real. And we will find out someday too how real we continue to be when our last breath. So really trust that our loved ones are around, they are with us, and they do support us, which leads me into what's going on this week. We've got all kinds of wonderful things. And, it feels good to be coming to our Sunday gathering, at least it does for me, and to participate in some of our online courses and demonstrations and things. You may have a pull to work on your soul qualities and maybe psychic and mediumship, or you may just want to stay plugged into the bigger picture and see what's possible. So I just want to share with you some of the things that are going on. First of all, tomorrow, same time we started today, we're starting a 4-session class with our friend Scott Milligan, who did our opening prayer. He and Darren are traveling, but Scott was nice enough to do a couple videos for us. On Tuesday, Scott is doing 2 Sitting in the Power hours. He'll be doing those Tuesdays in May. Also, Tuesdays, Phil and Carrie have just started a great course called Reading the Aura. And even though we're 1 week into the course, if you were to register, you get the replay of the first session so you could join class on Tuesday. Pretty neat to tap into those soul qualities. On Wednesday and Thursday, we have psychic class and mediumship class with Carrie and Phil. And we do ask if you're interested, if you'd watch the replays from our first classes in January and February 1st. That you can do on your own time to really give yourself the structure and the foundation of how the communication works with your soul and with the spirit world. Pretty great. Friday, we have a demonstration with Scott Milligan, who is a trance medium. We also sit for healing as part of that. On Saturday and Sunday, Carrie and Phil are together for a 2-day workshop called Moving the Consciousness. And as I was speaking before about how busy our mind can be, that mind gets in the way for communication with the unseen world, because it always chimes in. Is this true? Isn't it true? Moving the consciousness, you find out more about the altered states and get some really good experience slowing down and quieting the mind. And this is particularly good for our psychic and mediumship students who want to just give the best information possible. Just set that busy mind aside. We have lots of good things coming up, and you can go to wedon'tdie.com. You can click on the store button. You can register for next week, our Sunday gathering. You can click on the link for our Facebook group at the top of the page. Join over 6,000 now like-minded, I was going to say outer space souls. And also you can listen to many, many podcasts of mine, all talking about life, death, grief, the afterlife. And like I said, it really does help to stay plugged in. Our human beingness wants to convince us that we are just what we can see is what's real. And we know that there's so much that's real that we cannot see. So there is an illusion called life. And it is important, I feel, for us to get our money's worth out of it. So, yep, there's fear. There's times that we need to be courageous. There's all kinds of things we can experience. But there are times when we really have to remember that there are stars in the sky. Our loved ones are around. There is this ever-expanding universe that we are part of. So if you want to take a little homework for the week, it is simple. It is just kind of to question reality. When things get tough, take that 30,000-foot view. Or there's a great movie called What the Bleep Do We Know? If you haven't seen it, it's pretty neat, but it really questions the nature of reality. And a lot of things that we think are real, my friends, we are some pretty grand illusions. But our lives are very, very much important. So relax a little bit, love yourself, take a moment or many moments to just think, hey, it's pretty cool that I'm living in this body that just keeps regenerating itself and healing itself. It's got its own battery pack, add a little food and water. You know, think of the vastness of the universe and just think you are special. You're one of a kind. Be who you are. You know, there's plenty of other people around. Just be you. Be free to be you. You're special. You're lovable. Try not to take things so seriously. You know, we do have to pay attention to what is important, of course, but there are other times, and you know when they are, that it's okay to let go of the busy mind and just settle down into the calm, deep waters of the ocean where everything is still. You don't need to be active on the surface if there's a big storm. So just question reality, I guess is what I'm thinking. And if you want to watch a science fiction movie and join me in space, you can do that. So with that, we're going to hear our closing prayer from Scott. And there's a great song that will be following. If you remember the Star Wars movie and you remember the Cantina song, it is a family that came together just this past May 4th, and they filmed the video all in their Star Wars apparel. So let's turn to that, and then we'll say a quick goodbye before the end. So this is over to Scott for our closing prayer.
Thank you, Sandra, and thank you to everyone who has joined us in this time of celebration. It is a day that is marked upon our hearts, but allow your eyes to close for a moment so we can just listen to the love that was spoken. And we thank all those who have joined us, visible or unseen. A moment ago, we lit the eternal candle that marked the light of eternity. May this light now go out to the four corners of our world. Where there is unrest, let there be peace. Where there is darkness, let there be light. As we walk this path this day, we will walk this path with the knowledge that death is but a bend. It is a lie that has been whispered through this world. And now we listen to your voice that brings us hope to see this day through. So as this candle light is spent and a new dawn arises, we rise with the knowledge and the love that you are only a breath away. Amen.